It was a very lonely place, and she had two jobs. So she would leave from one job to the next. And then, at that point, being a single mom, she was married, but they had their own marital issues.
Right,
and
right.
I wasn't used to marital issues because mama and grandpa never really argue. And then you come here and you see this side and you're like, this is madness.
Yes.
Welcome to the Shan and Cam Show. Welcome back, Shan and Tam fam. Today is a very special interview. We are talking about being an overcomer, especially in these times, family. In COVID times, I know that nobody is coming out of this time the same. And it's important for us to see and hear those stories about how people have faced other difficult challenges in their lives. And we welcome today Fabian Dehaney to talk to us about being an overcomer.
Yes, we're so excited to talk to Fabian. She is a prayer warrior. You're gonna fall in love with her because she has such an infectious smile and bubbly personality. She is a mother, a wife. She is big in ministry and she is sold out for Jesus. So please tune in, share this video, like and subscribe because we are going to be talking about how to be an overcomer.
Let's get into it. So today we have Fabian Dehaney. We want to welcome you, Fabian.
Welcome.
It's such a pleasure to finally meet you. I follow you on social media and I see all the great things that you're doing. And we're happy to be talking to you today. So we just want to get things started by asking you just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, as you probably know, my name is Fabian. Most people call me Miss Fab or Miss Fabulous. I'm a mother of three, married, just celebrated 19 years anniversary.
Congratulations. That's a milestone.
Yeah, it certainly is. God is good. I love the Lord. I mean, I spent most of my life, I would say, in such somewhat the church setting, but had my time when I wasn't necessarily in church. But I have to say, for the time that I have, I've just matured to learn so much more about myself and about the kingdom of God and about others. And as our topic's going to be today about what does it mean to be an overcomer, I feel like those years that I've been in church, I've definitely overcome a lot. I've definitely fallen a bit along the way, but also found the courage to get back up and start again.
Absolutely awesome. So we know you're from Jamaica. Yadis
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about your life in Jamaica and growing up in Jamaica?
Sure. I grew up in Jamaica. I came here at a young age, at 10. But it's so funny that my life in Jamaica, growing up for the first 10 years of my life, have impacted me so much that I have such fond memories of growing up. I grew up with my grandparents, my grandmother and my grandfather, because my mom migrated to Canada when I was about 2. And then I didn't meet her again until I was 9. And by the time I was 10, I was coming to live with her. And my grandmother not only raised me and my 3 sisters, but also my mom's siblings' children. So I grew up in a big yard with all my cousins.
Big yard.
Yes, so there was never moms around, but grandma and grandpa, but we had like 10 cousins that we all grew up together in a 3-bedroom house. So it's pretty jammed. The boys are in one room, the girls are in one room, and then the grandparents had the other room. So it was definitely fun to be honest. I never really knew much different from that growing up in a little community where, we home grow a lot of things. We didn't have a lot of toys, but we definitely played a lot outside. and we didn't have, bicycles and those things that I got when I came to Canada. But I realized that those things really mattered to me. Just always having someone there, always having grandma home and a home cooked meal, and coming home and there's your cousin and there's family, so family oriented and so tight grip,
Right.
which was very different coming to Canada. And looking back now, you're like, oh my God, it was definitely not a rich lifestyle, but it was a fulfilling lifestyle.
Yes.
I totally get that. I think about even my mom when she talks about growing up in a pretty large family too. I mean, there were 7 children.
Yes.
And she says something all the time that sticks with me. She's like, I didn't know that I was poor. You know what I mean?
That's exactly the statement right there.
Yeah, I didn't know that I was poor because my life was so rich.
It was fulfilling.
It was.
Oh
good.
my God. Oh my God.
The simple things.
Simple things.
And talk about having a village too, which a lot of people sometimes they don't understand when we talk about missing home.
Yes.
Because you have that connectedness with people. If it's not, like an uncle or an aunt immediately living close to you, but it's a cousin or something.
It's a neighbor. It's your grandmother best friend.
It's the man at the shop.
You understand? It's the shopkeeper. Those things made a difference.
Connection.
So I totally get it.
Definitely. So, Fabian, just listening to you, it seems as if you said your mom left Jamaica, came to Canada, and then you reunited with her after. How was that immigration process for you? How were you?
Oh my God. Honestly, Shan, it was rough.
Yes.
It was so rough coming here and leaving like all my cousins behind, where, I had like 4 cousins my age, and then the younger and then the older. So everybody had a few siblings per se, even though we weren't siblings, but it felt like that.
Yes.
And then to come here now where it's just me and my 2 sisters who were older. So I was the youngest one. So we bonded, but I more look at them more like a mother figure than a friend.
Yes.
And so when I came here and migrated with my mom,
Yes.
it was so hard coming home, and then she's a nurse. And I don't know, when I came to Canada, I said to myself, there's one job I will never do.
You work so
Because she
hard.
was gone all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that. I'm used to mama being home. My grandfather gone a bush. So I come home, dinner ready. And then I come home, I get here, and then it's like 3 days she was off. And then she's like, she has to go back to work. And I'm like, okay. But then nobody's home.
Yeah.
So she gave me a key. I'm like, for what? I never had a key. Somebody always in the yard. I'm going to school and I'm coming home to an empty home because my sisters were older. They were in high school, university, and I was in elementary school. And so they had extra stuff that they were doing coming to Canada to kind of get caught up. And I just went straight to school. So it was so hard. I cried for like months because it was lonely.
Yeah.
It was a very lonely place, and she had 2 jobs. So she would leave from one job to the next. And then, at that point, being a single mom, she was married, but they had their own marital issues.
Right.
I wasn't used to marital issues because mama and grandpa never really argue. And then you come here and you see this side and you're like, this is madness.
Yes.
Because I'm not life. So it was a hard transition for me. I really wanted to go back. I remember saying to mom, like, I want to go back until I get to maybe 13, like high school years, because I was home alone. And I wasn't used to that. But eventually, she was happy to see her kids after leaving us for so long. And then the mom and daughter bond was kind of broken. So my grandmother was my mom. And then I'm living with my mom, who I never knew. I only met her once. And then I'm living with her. It didn't quite feel the same way, or was it a good fit? And then she's working all the time. So it was a hard transition, to be honest, for the first couple of years. And then going into a school that this was like 1991. I was like the only Black student in the, so that was rough.
That's
and then
another challenge.
accent, it was rough. And people, I had friends, I met friends easily, but you also had those who made fun of your accent. They made fun of your complexion. So it was standing my ground and being strong. And I did get into quite a few fights because
What? You know, Miss Fabulous.
I had to hold my own, but eventually kind of, got normal. By the next year or two, we had more immigrants coming in. So I had another Jamaican friend and Guyanese friend. And so it made the transition a little bit easier by the grade 7, grade 8.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? It's interesting because a lot of people, when we leave Jamaica or leave any Caribbean to come here, right? They say, "Oh, you're coming for a better life," and yes, we are, but we leave so much behind.
Yeah.
So much behind.
Right? We leave so much behind, and it's that struggle to find yourself and to find a niche and to find the community. It takes a lot, and it really takes a spirit of an overcomer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we were talking about that in our blog that we did recently about straight outta yard was the topic. And somebody recently just said to me that it really opened their eyes because as a person who was born here, still from a Caribbean descent background, they were like, I couldn't understand. Like, I couldn't see until I actually read you guys' story that these things actually do exist, because she was like, what do you mean, like you're sad because you left,
Exactly, they can't understand.
Yeah, people don't understand it, but it really is it really can be traumatic.
Yeah, and it's real.
It is such a change, such a change coming here from the Caribbean. It's shocking. It's actually a culture shock.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's good that you are able to find that community and to, at some point to really work through those issues and to really get that community, the support, the church community and your family, which leads us to our next question. I know from following you on your WhatsApp posts and the Facebook, I know that you were a young mother. So can you talk to us a little bit about your experiences as a young mother and some of the challenges that you had to overcome with that?
Oh yes, it was a toughie. I got pregnant at 18, which was very, very, very hard for me. And the reason why is because in my family, there's a bit of a generational, I don't know if I should say it's a curse, but it's a generational reoccurrence. And I knew of it. And my grandmother was pregnant at 18. My great grandmother was pregnant at 18. My mom was pregnant at 18. My great great grandmother was pregnant at 18.
Wow.
So I am now the 4th generation. And I said to myself, I'm going to break it. Like I already said, I'm not getting pregnant at 18. My sister passed it. My other sister passed it. So I was the other one. I was like, this is a done deal. It's not happening. And knowing and behold, it happened. And I say, you know what? God had a sense of humor, because when it's so funny to tap into a little bit of the story. When I met Sean, who is now my husband, we were dating and I was like, I'm going 100% protection. I'm not taking no chances because I ain't getting pregnant. And girl, I'm telling you, this must have been the October after my birthday. I fell ill and I ended up at the hospital. And they said to me that I had ovarian cysts on both my ovaries and they had erupted.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. I always had painful periods, right? So I just thought that's normal being going into teenager and periods as a girl. Some people get cramps, but it was normal for me. I didn't think anything. So anyways, they had to have emergency surgery. And when they had emergency surgery, he said, because the cyst has been there so long and they both erupted and we had to do surgery, they had to do like almost scraping off my ovaries. So chances are it was a 99.9% that I won't be able to have children.
Wow.
So, and that was 18. So I just turned 18 and I was in the hospital. And to be honest, I wasn't even sad because in my heart, I was like, good, that means me not gonna have no baby by the time I'm 18.
You didn't think about it.
No, I wasn't thinking about the long term. I was like, all right, so now I don't have to be packing up and padding up and, do the thing. Okay, this is October. January, I'm going to school. I'm in the bus.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm feeling sick.
Mm-hmm.
Never had this feeling before. So I was like, okay, I feel like I want to throw up. But I'm like, okay, I must have ate something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Went to school and everything I just coming up. I said, this is weird. I never had a throw up feeling before. And, you know, I can't be pregnant. The doctors already told me that I can't have kids. I'm sure I'm not the 0.1%.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think my ovaries are healed yet, much less to start producing egg. This is like,
Exactly.
so I went to my girlfriend and I'm like, let's, you know, can we go to the doctor? Because something's wrong with me and I have no idea what's wrong.
Yes.
And I went to the doctor and he's like, you're pregnant.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm what? I said, excuse me? I said, you have my charts. And so he pulled it up and he's like, yeah, it must be a miracle because your ovaries were basically almost taken out. And,
Wow.
and scar tissue alone would not allow your ovaries to come back to.
Yeah.
For you to even be pregnant in January.
A miracle.
It's God. So
Yeah.
that's how I end up having a teenage pregnancy at 18. And I mean, I bawled. I literally cried in that office because I just remember. And I said, Jesus, here I am, the fourth generation,
Mm-hmm.
pregnant at 18. And I'm going to have the baby. I had Trey 3 weeks before my 19th birthday.
Oh.
And he was due on the 1st of September. And I said, I'm going to hold this baby in until October the 8th. And I'm telling you, he just wouldn't come. And by the 15th, the doctor's like, you're 2 weeks overdue. We're taking the baby. I'm like, no.
You want it to be 19.
I wanted to be 19. I said, at least if I make it until 19, I would have overcome this generational cycle.
Oh man. What?
Yes. So, you know, it was definitely, but you know, after a while I warmed up to the idea of being pregnant and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to be a mom. You know,
Right.
at this point, it's definitely not easy. It was my first year in college. And I feel like it was God's intervention as well, because by the time I hit 16, I decided to kind of leave the church. I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist faith, and, you know, I left the church about 15, and then 16, 17, going into 18, I was still out there. I mean, I was up in the clubs, up in the party, having a good time.
You're doing your thing.
Doing my thing until the day I gave birth. I'm telling you, I was up in the party at 9 months.
What?
9 months, I'm up in the party in my little baby doll and belly out and shots and summer things. And then I'm sitting in the hospital after I had this baby and the nurse brought me Trey. And I think my life just hit reality then. And I said, oh my God, you're actually a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to do with this child that the Lord has given you? I have no idea how to be a mom. I've babysat a few times, but you know, this is permanent.
Yeah.
And I just remember just holding him in my arms and I'm like, God, you got to tell me what to do with this baby, because I don't know what to do with this baby. And I know I've gone haywire. I know I've done my own things, because you grew up in a church and there's still a part of you. I always say, it doesn't matter how far you go. There comes a time when the Lord just meet you.
Yeah.
And he just met me in that room. And I just cried. I just said, I can't go back to the same way and just do the same thing, because this is a life now that matters. And what am I going to do with him?
Right.
I have to grow him up the way I grew up. I grew up in Jamaica going to church. Whether your grandmother go or sister go or anybody, you have to put on your church clothes and your frock and your slip and just on a church.
Your church
And,
slip. Yes.
And that's sort of where my journey started with Trey. And it wasn't easy because I was the only one of my group that had a baby. So that was kind of rough as a teenager because you couldn't go out as much. You have a responsibility now. I had to decide that I'm going to go back to school. So I said, okay, when he's 6 months and a little bit bigger, I got to go back. I don't have a career. I'm not working. I have nothing. And I'm 18, a teenage mom with a baby with no education, no job, no nothing. So everything just came down on me, and I watched my friends, they're dressing up, they're going out to restaurant, they're doing this, they're doing that. And all I'm worried about is diapers and Pampers
And formula.
and formula. And you know, it really gives you a mature mindset at a young age of what's important and the things that you give up when you decide that you're going to become a mom, whether it's by chance or by happenings or by wanting. The responsibility is great.
Yes. You know, something you said just a little bit earlier seemed so eerily familiar to me. And it was when that baby was born, how you just sort of held the baby and then just said, you know, God, what is it that I'm supposed to do for this child, right? And I feel it just gave me a flashback, deja vu, because I feel like it was having my children that transformed me, brought me to the place where I decided that I needed to do better with my life spiritually, right? And that's what, and I tell people all the time, it's having my kids brought me to Christ.
Yes.
So I can totally relate to that. So we know you're a mother, we know you're a wife, we know that you love God and that you are in ministry.
Yes.
Is there any part of your journey or anyone in your life that ever talked to you about being that godly wife?
So Shannon Tam fam, we're not going to give you everything today. Listen, we were laughing so much, and I'm sure you were laughing as well. Fabian she is a gift. So tune in next week as we bring you part 2 with the discussion as we continue this crucial conversation on being an overcomer. Fabian is going to talk to us some more about her children, their giftings as well, and what they have been doing in the ministry and really to storm the kingdom of God. So tune in next week as we show part 2.
We'll see you then. Thanks for watching the show today, Shantam fam.
Ensure you hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video.
Send the link to a friend in WhatsApp, Facebook, or even Instagram fam. And of course, don't miss when we post a new video, so hit that notifications button.
Yes. Also, check out the details box for this video for all the links for Shan and Tam's social media and blog pages.